My name is Rachel, and 3 months after my husband Daniel died, I learned that grief wasn't the worst thing that could happen to a person. The worst thing was discovering that someone you trusted had been waiting for your weakest moment. It happened at my niece's birthday party. I almost didn't go. For weeks, I'd barely left the house. Every room reminded me of Daniel. His coffee mug still sat on the kitchen counter. His favorite jacket still hung by the front door. Some mornings I would wake up and forget he was gone for a few seconds. Those few seconds were always the happiest part of my day. My cousin Melissa kept insisting I come to the party. "You need family around you," she said. I finally agreed. Looking back, that was exactly what she wanted. The party was already crowded when I arrived. Kids were running around the backyard. Music played through outdoor speakers. Parents stood around chatting while pretending to watch their children. Melissa greeted me with a hug that felt strangely forced. "I'm so glad you came," she said. Her smile never reached her eyes. At the time, I ignored it. I shouldn't have. For most of the afternoon, everything seemed normal. People offered condolences. A few relatives asked how I was coping. I answered politely and tried to survive the day. Then came the cake. Everyone gathered around the table. Phones came out. Children started singing. And that's when Melissa decided to destroy my life. She tapped a spoon against her glass. "Ladies and gentlemen," she announced. The room slowly quieted. "I have something important to share." I remember feeling a knot form in my stomach. Melissa wasn't looking at the crowd. She was looking directly at me. "My daughter deserves the truth," she said loudly. The backyard fell silent. Melissa placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder. Because Daniel wasn't just Rachel's husband. I felt my heart stop. Melissa smiled. He was also my daughter's father. Gasps erupted across the yard. Several relatives immediately turned toward me. Others stared at Melissa in disbelief. For a moment, I couldn't even process what I'd heard. Then she pulled a folder from her purse. And everything got worse. Inside was a stack of legal documents. She held them up like a trophy. "Daniel knew the truth before he died," she said. "He wanted his daughter protected." My hand started shaking. Melissa removed a document from the folder. A few weeks before his accident, Daniel updated his estate paperwork. The crowd looked stunned. So, as my daughter's legal guardian, I'll be claiming her rightful share of Daniel's assets. My stomach dropped. Daniel and I owned a beautiful house together. We had savings, investments, life insurance, everything we'd spent years building. Melissa wasn't just accusing my husband of cheating. She was trying to take everything. People began whispering. Some looked sympathetic. Others looked horrified. Melissa loved every second of it. Then she delivered the final blow. "If Rachel refuses to cooperate," she said, "we'll file in court." The confidence in her voice was unbelievable. She genuinely believed she had already won. I slowly reached for the paperwork. The entire backyard watched, waiting, expecting tears, expecting a breakdown, expecting me to scream. Instead, I started reading. And within 30 seconds, something strange happened. A wave of relief washed over me. Then confusion. Then something even more dangerous. Amusement. I almost laughed. Not because the situation wasn't serious, but because Melissa had made a mistake so catastrophic that she didn't even realize she'd already destroyed herself. I forced myself to remain calm. I lowered the papers. "Oh," I said quietly. Melissa's smile grew wider. She thought I was defeated. She thought I had accepted the truth. She had no idea I had just discovered the key to ending her entire scheme. A man standing near the patio stepped forward. Until then, I had assumed he was another guest. I was wrong. He introduced himself as Melissa's attorney. That alone told me how long she'd been planning this. He handed me another document. "We'd prefer to settle this privately," he said. His voice sounded rehearsed. "Sign these transfer agreements and avoid a lengthy legal battle." Melissa crossed her arms confidently. It's what Daniel would have wanted. I looked at both of them. then at the watching relatives, then back at the papers, and I made a decision. I would let them believe they were winning. For now, because the moment they learned what Daniel and I had kept secret for years, everything would change. And when the truth finally came out, Melissa wasn't going to lose half a lawsuit. She was going to lose everything. The next morning, I sat across from my attorney, Michael, in his downtown office. He spent nearly 20 minutes reviewing every page Melissa had handed me. When he finally looked up, his expression said everything. "This is bad," he said. My heart sank. Then he continued, "For her." I blinked. "What?" Michael slid the documents across the desk. "The signatures don't match." I leaned forward. "The witness information is inconsistent." He tapped another page. "And these legal references are outdated." A small smile appeared on his face. "Honestly, Rachel, this looks like something someone copied from the internet." For the first time in days, I felt hope. But Michael wasn't finished. "Even without those mistakes, there's something else." I reached into my purse. "Actually, I need to show you something." From a sealed envelope, I removed a document Daniel had asked me never to discuss unless absolutely necessary. Michael opened it. His eyes widened instantly. Then he read it again, and again. "You're kidding me." I shook my head. No. The document was a medical report. 8 years earlier, before Daniel and I had even met, he had undergone treatment after a serious illness. The treatment saved his life, but it left him permanently unable to father children naturally. The diagnosis had been confirmed by multiple specialists. There was no uncertainty, no gray area, no debate. Michael slowly placed the file on his desk. "If this is authentic," "It is." "Then Melissa's entire claim collapses." I nodded. "Because Daniel couldn't be her daughter's biological father. It wasn't possible. Not remotely. My cousin had built an entire inheritance scam around a biological relationship that could never have existed. And somehow, she never bothered checking." Michael leaned back in his chair. "What do you want to do?" I could have filed immediately. I could have exposed everything that day. But a different idea had already formed in my mind. "I want her to commit." His eyebrows lifted. "What do you mean?" I smiled. "I want her to go all in." 2 days later, Melissa arranged another meeting. This time, several family members were present. Apparently, she wanted witnesses. She expected a surrender. Instead, she walked into a trap. The private conference room buzzed with confidence when she arrived. Her attorney sat beside her. A few relatives occupied chairs near the wall. Everyone looked at me like I was already defeated. Melissa especially. "Have you made your decision?" she asked. I lowered my eyes, pretending uncertainty, pretending fear. Exactly what she wanted to see. "I don't want a court battle." Her smile immediately widened. Smart predators become careless the moment they smell victory. Melissa became very careless. Her attorney slid several forms toward me. "Then let's finalize everything." I studied the pages. Property rights, asset claims, inheritance declarations. Every document repeated the same story. That Melissa's daughter was Daniel's biological child. That she was entitled to a substantial portion of his estate. And then I noticed something beautiful. A sworn affidavit, signed under penalty of perjury. Exactly what I needed. I pushed the papers back. "I think Melissa should sign first." Nobody questioned it. Why would they? Melissa grabbed the pen immediately. Without reading carefully. Without hesitation. Without caution. She signed every page. One after another. Each signature tightened the trap. Each signature increased the consequences. Each signature made escape impossible. When she finished, she leaned back proudly. There. The room felt lighter, almost celebratory. Melissa thought she had won. Her attorney thought he had won. Several relatives thought I had finally accepted reality. Then I looked at Michael and nodded. That single nod changed everything. Michael opened his briefcase, removed a sealed folder, placed it directly in front of Melissa. Her smile disappeared. "What is that?" "Evidence," I said. The confidence drained from her face. Michael opened the folder and distributed copies around the table. Silence followed. A heavy silence, the kind that changes lives. Melissa stared at the first page, then the second, then the third. Color vanished from her face. "No." Her voice sounded tiny. "No, that's not possible." "It is," I replied calmly. The room remained frozen. Relatives read quietly, eyes widening one by one. The truth spread around the table like a shock wave. Daniel had been medically incapable of fathering children for years before I ever met him. The evidence was overwhelming. Specialist reports, medical evaluations, official records. There was no argument, no loophole, no escape. Melissa looked desperately toward her attorney. "Say something." He didn't, because there was nothing to say. The biological foundation of her entire claim had just exploded. Then things got even worse. Michael slid another document forward. A lawsuit. Fraud. Forgery. Attempted theft. False sworn statements. Civil damages. The room became so quiet that I could hear the air conditioning. Melissa's attorney slowly stood up, gathered his briefcase, and left, without saying a word. The look on Melissa's face was unforgettable. For the first time since this nightmare began, she understood the situation. She wasn't the one taking my house. She was the one about to lose everything. Family members who had supported her moments earlier now stared at her with disgust. Questions started flying. "Did you know this was false? You forged documents. You lied about Daniel?" Melissa couldn't answer, because every answer made things worse. The meeting ended in complete chaos, but the real karma came later. Investigators confirmed the forged paperwork. The fake legal documents triggered additional penalties. Melissa spent months dealing with lawsuits, debt, and legal consequences she never saw coming. Several relatives cut contact completely. Her reputation never recovered. As for me, I kept my home. I protected Daniel's memory. And I learned something important. Some people mistake kindness for weakness. Some people see grief as an opportunity. Some people think a broken heart makes an easy target. Melissa believed all three. She was wrong, because the moment she tried to steal my future, she accidentally destroyed her own.